Welcome back to the Disc Doctors.
Hey, welcome back to the Disc Doctors. What's the best way to be prepared for computer problems?
Don't get a ticket in Gallatin, Montana. And there's another way.
A boot disk.
Yes.
A boot disk. Hey, you know what I love about Windows 95 boot disk? This is my favorite part. You go in to create a Windows 95 boot disk, and they have this little cute icon, something like that. Creates the boot disk for you, right? You just slap the disk in, no problems, except
It doesn't work.
it won't boot Windows 95. You boot into some sort of DOS-looking thing.
Picky.
You want me to read this email here?
Yes, please.
It's from Abe. He says, I'm trying to format my hard drive to remove all unnecessary files and stuff that I no longer need. I would like to know, I know you don't like people formatting their hard drives. I'll just give Abe a break.
No, I just hate the name Abe.
I'd like to know how to create a boot disk that will allow me to reinstall Windows 95 from a CD. Problem is, he needs the CD-ROM drivers and the auto-exec bat and the config sys, yada, yada. How do we do that?
Okay, first I want to deal with the yada yada part. Really quickly, if all he's trying to do is get rid of unnecessary files, there's shareware programs, there's utility programs, there's lots of things that will analyze your system and look at the files that have been used, files that haven't been used. It'll figure that out so you can just delete them. You don't need to reformat your drive.
The only thing I like about reformatting hard drives is that it often convinces people to go ahead and fully and completely back up their system. But you ought to be doing that like weekly, you know.
All right, so just without getting onto a big tirade, here's how you do it. First, there's two parts. First, you go into the control panels and you go to Add Remove Programs. Click, click. There's a tab up there that says Startup Disk.
Right.
Click. And there's a thing that says Create Disk. You click on that, and it's going to ask you to stick a disk in your drive, and it's going to put most of the system files on there.
In Windows 95.
For Windows 95. Yeah. Now, Windows 98, it actually should put everything you need
pretty well,
to do
I
this.
think. Yeah.
Now, again, as Todd, you were saying, the key thing that you've got to do after you do that is take, there's going to be an auto-exec and a config sys on the disk that it just made, and you have to put first the driver for your CD-ROM drive, so you'll have to find that on your hard drive, put that on the floppy drive, and then you'll have to call the driver in both the config sys and the auto-exec. And the way that part looks,
How do you do that, Stephen?
I'll show you. First we go to config sys, because that's the first place. There'll be a line in the config sys, sort of like this. It'll be device equals the name of your CD-ROM driver, and then a space, /D, colon, and then the name that you give to the CD-ROM. This name can be anything. Here, the default is usually MSCD001, but it could be anything.
Anything you want.
Chuck,
Amy,
Bob, Mikey, whatever.
Marcia.
Couldn't be Marcia. Oh, okay, good. Then you go to the auto-exec, and you make sure there's a line that calls that driver, mscdex.exe, or whatever it is, again, cd-rom driver.exe, whatever it is, and then that same name for the drive, D, colon, Bob,
Marcia.
Chuck, Marcia, whatever, space, and then /L, and then colon, and then the letter that
Drive
you're
letter
going to
you're
use
gonna
for that
use,
drive. F, Z, Q, whatever. Now, the key thing is if you're copying this stuff from an existing auto-exec bat, there's going to be references to your C drive in here. Take those out because you're going to stick that driver on the floppy drive, so get rid of the C drive.
It's going to be on A.
So, but you don't need to say A, just leave it alone.
That'll be on A.
That's how you do it.
Okay, let's go to Frank. He's on the phone here, and he has a question for us. Hey, Frank, what's up?
Hello, Frank.
Hi there.
How are you?
Okay, thanks.
What's happening?
Well, I have a 14-year-old Macintosh Plus with a 4 megahertz processor that still runs, you know, like 80,000 cell spreadsheets and prints charts in color and runs Microsoft Word fairly well even today.
Okay.
My question is, are we at a point today where PC capabilities with maybe 100 times that 4 megahertz speed will be sufficient to run most all new applications for many years to come? I've got a son.
May I reply to that?
Yeah.
You have to.
No.
I've got a son that wants to spend $2,400 on a 233 megahertz laptop instead of putting that money on a desktop.
Right.
And I'm worried that the new applications will find some way to expect more resources in the next 4 to 7 years.
Well, they certainly will. There are like 90 minutes at least worth of answers that we could give to this question.
I think
question,
93.
93 minutes worth of answers that we could give to this question. A couple of the quick ones are, let's talk about first, how do you buy a PC that's going to last for a while? Are you wanting to move away from Mac for some reason?
Well, I've already got a 266 megahertz desktop that I bought about 8 months ago.
That's
and
a Mac?
I think it's already outdated.
Is it a Mac or a PC?
Well,
It's PC.
As soon as you buy a computer, it's outdated. That's a different issue.
But what are the key computer components necessary to have a long, useful life? Like are we going to need a DVD player to hold the data for programs in the future, or make sure you got USB ports?
Obviously, it's nice to be as far on the cutting edge as you possibly can. As a Mac person, somebody who sort of is in that camp and willing to buy Macs, I believe they tend to last a little longer because they tend to be processor upgradable, which a lot of Pentiums and AMD chips and all those aren't. You know.
Well, anyway.
As some of the Pentium 2s are. I think Macs tend to offer more options like external SCSI, so that you can add bigger drives on the outside. You have more options, not necessarily more options. You should have options in either PC or Mac for a lot of RAM. You know, to keep moving forward. Processor upgradability if you can, a lot of hard drive space. DVD might be a good idea. It's backward compatible with CD-ROM, so you're okay there. But you could add an external, something like that.
I think the short answer is we have no idea what's happening, what's going to happen. If you're looking to buy a new computer, you're always going to spend $2,000.
No, here's the short answer. The short answer is the industry is going to try to make you upgrade as much as it possibly can.
Right.
That's how they're making money, you know.
Oh,
so they're right.
That's it.
Okay. They keep coming up with these new technologies we don't necessarily need. I mean, you've proven it yourself with your Mac.
Exactly.
If you use the same applications that you were using 10 years ago, you can use the same machine you were using 10 years ago. You just can't upgrade them as quickly if you want to keep them forever.
Okay, we could do this forever, but hopefully that'll get you on the
We'll do it the rest of the show. We're not talking about anything else. We're just going to talk. Actually, we'll talk about another Mac, you know, upgrading and that kind of stuff.
We'll talk about more Mac.
You know, I wish we could help you more, Frank. You buy the most computer you possibly can for the dollars that you have at that particular second.
Or at least expensive one that'll handle what you need.
USB ports are important, I assume?
USB, USB DVD if you can get it. Absolutely. Have fun.
M-O-U-S-E.
Okay, thanks, guys.
We're going to look at Apple's efforts to jump back into the consumer market when we come back with their little iMac, and we'll see what it looks like when we continue.